What's going on, guys? So today I wanted to talk about the idea of Sony developing a new Vita handheld console. I don't think it would be a wise business move. Instead, I think it makes far more sense for Sony to focus that energy towards developing games for iOS and Android devices. Mobile gaming has seen huge growth in the past decade, particularly during the pandemic.
Mobile is the most lucrative and the fastest growing segment in gaming, accounting for 46% of the industry's total revenue last year, with $68.2 billion, according to Newzoo.
Trends and activities from other game publishers has indicated that there is still a lot of money to be made with gaming on the go. King and Tencent have made billions with games like Candy Crush and Honor of Kings, which are some of the most profitable video games ever made. Nintendo has seemingly shifted their entire business strategy to mobile after the huge success of Pokemon Go and developing the Switch Lite console. Valve is doing something similar and are making the Steam Deck for indie games.
Steam Deck is a full-featured gaming PC that lets you bring the games you love wherever you go.
Then there's the hyperscale internet giants who are betting big on game streaming for phones and laptops. Sony is also making moves in the mobile space. As a hardware company, they're actively developing mobile phones designed for gaming. They've also announced hiring decisions and want to bring classic titles to iOS and Android devices. Rockstar has found success in porting their old titles to these devices, and Sony wants to do the same. And I think in a few years we can expect to see PlayStation place an as important emphasis on mobile gaming as they do with consoles and PSVR. But why not create a new Vita? Well, for one, costs for long-term support for a dedicated handheld are just too high when compared to developing to iOS and Android devices. Sony has indicated a willingness to cut costs wherever possible and turn off the back-end servers in order to save money. The death of the Vita was staved off only by the hardcore fans of the platform. Any kind of proprietary hardware marketed to a niche audience would need specialized support services and updates in order to keep the platform secure and relevant for decades. These ongoing costs do not exist on iOS and Android devices because that work is outsourced to Apple and Google. In this ecosystem, Sony can just make games, which is what they're good at. Beyond back-end support, Sony would also have to commit long-term to hardware upgrades and refinement. Sony doesn't typically make money off console sales, and a new Vita would require constant updates in order to match pace with the increased capabilities of mobile processing power. Given that Sony is actively developing smartphones as a hardware company, and devices like these are becoming even more difficult to develop due to the worldwide chip shortage, it just doesn't make sense to commit to another line of hardware. Finally, and perhaps most importantly, the market for iOS and Android devices dwarf any market for a potential Vita sequel. There's over 3 billion smartphones in the world right now, and this number is only going to increase exponentially. The Vita only sold 20 million in its lifetime. The 3DS, a comparably way more popular handheld console, only sold about 75 million in its lifetime. There really just is no comparison. Selling games on iOS and Android devices opens up so many more people, and given that phones are becoming more powerful every day, there soon won't be much that a hypothetical Vita sequel could do that couldn't also be done on a smartphone. So while it doesn't make sense for Sony to make a new Vita console, they absolutely should still develop mobile games. There's a lot of reasons why a strategy oriented around developing games for iOS and Android devices would be far more lucrative. Games on these devices can be very elastic when it comes to their length, engagement, and graphical capabilities. The iOS and Android market has a far wider range of audience expectations for games, which includes those that are high-powered and mirror the AAA experience, as well as those that are more casual and easier to pick up and play. Sony's army of development teams are well suited to make games that can fill all aspects of this market. When developing for Vita, games were required to fit a narrower band of audience expectations, which was costly and ill-suited for certain development teams. But in an iOS and Android ecosystem, a developer like Media Molecule can make something more casual and fun, whereas a Santa Monica can make something more intense and story-driven. Sony also has a range of popular IP at its disposal that it can leverage to break into the market far easier than its competitors. Nintendo has shown this to be incredibly effective with Pokemon Go. There's no real reason why Sony can't leverage one of its own IPs to get a game into the mainstream conversation and turn it into a huge hit. Then there's crossplay. The ability to play games seamlessly across consoles, PCs, and mobile phones has made several games gargantuan successes. Genshin Impact has made $2 billion in only its first year, and other games like Fortnite, PUBG, and Roblox are also huge success stories. People are seemingly far more willing to invest in experiences that they can take anywhere, even at the cost of graphical capabilities and fidelity. Given Sony's dominating position in the home console market with an already huge built-in audience, crossplay would be an extremely smart area to invest in. In short, I don't think it would be a wise business decision for Sony to develop a new Vita console. Supporting a hypothetical Vita 2 with new games will only cost more, be targeted to a smaller audience, and generate far less revenue than games for iOS and Android devices ever would. While this may be disappointing for some hardcore PlayStation fans, I actually think it'll be exciting. The ability to play classic PlayStation games, unlock trophies, and connect with my friends all on my Google Pixel sounds pretty cool. I guess we'll just have to wait and see, but in the meantime, I'm optimistic.